Welcome to the Customer Service School. My name is Stephen Merrill, and the reason I started this was I've had experiences with my family post-pandemic that have been really lackluster. That I came in expecting something up here, and either the restaurant we went to, the store we entered, the experience that we were trying to have was just really less than what we expected. And so I really wanted to take it upon myself to empower and to educate local business owners and companies all around the world to understand what are your customers expecting right now and how can you provide them that exceptional level of service. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different things in this podcast, and I'm really excited to have you here with us. So I guess you could say that class is in session. And in our first conversation today, what I want us to think about when we're talking about customer service, the customer experience, everything else with your team's development and how we can enhance all that we're doing, you want to start off by thinking about your purpose and why are you doing this, right? So many times people get caught up in a job because they went to school for it. Their parents told them it was something good. Society is pressuring them and they feel like I'm just going to kind of settle here and this will be my life. And then 10 years down the road, they're miserable and they're burnt out. And I see this happening all the time in companies of all different sizes in all different industries. When you lose sight of the purpose of the reason why you're doing something, you're going to burn out. You're going to start to become miserable because of the fact that when you do things that you're really good at for a long time, but you've stopped enjoying them, you're going to lose that spark, that fire. And so when we talk about understanding your purpose, the reason I came up with this first tool that I'll share with you is in the pandemic, my wife and I had just started our first company. She was newly pregnant. My father was passing away. And I was like, man, I got to figure out what the heck my purpose is. How am I going to be a business owner? How am I going to be a father? How am I going to deal with my father passing away? And he was my number one role model. And I had to really get clear. And my wife actually asked me these same questions that I'm going to walk you through right now, and that I've asked literally thousands of people at all different levels, from high level executives to brand new team members to NFL athletes, everybody in between. And the reason that these work so well is because they just cut to the core of who we are and they start to get you clear on why are you doing what you're doing. And this really helped me, which is why I'm passionate in starting off here, because again, if we just talk about the customer experience and customer service and what your team is doing, but we don't get clear as to why we're doing it, it's not going to matter. And so the first few questions that I want to ask you, number one is, what are you good at? And what this means is, if you think about it, in school, maybe there was a subject that you were naturally talented at. Maybe it was math, maybe it was science, literature, whatever it was, you were just naturally talented at it. Maybe it's a sport that just came natural to you. Maybe it's a skill such as negotiating or communicating today, right? That you're just really, really good at. And I want you to start to write down, if you can, 5 examples of things that you're good at in your life, personally or professionally. And I just take a minute to do that, because when you start to get clear on what you're good at, it leads us to our second question, which is, what do you enjoy? And this is a question that, let me tell you, when I've asked especially executives this, what do you enjoy? What fills your cup up? I get a lot of blank stares, because oftentimes we focus on what we're really good at. And that's awesome. I'm all about that. But then we forget what we enjoy. And this is, again, in the long term, what takes out that fulfillment. And so I want you to think about, okay, what are the things that I enjoy in my life? Is it playing an instrument? Is it painting? Is it exercising? Is it spending time with family? Be selfish about your personal happiness when you're thinking about these things, because I want you to think, what do you enjoy? And again, try to write 5 of those out, because when you get clear on what you're good at and what you enjoy, and you can align those two things, all of a sudden you're starting to get clear in your purpose. So for me personally, I love communicating. I've been told I'm good at it, right? And so with that being said, I believe that I can empower others in using the tool of communication. I'm good at that and I enjoy it and I have a passion for this. And so because of that, that's when I started to find that purpose of how can I positively impact other people with the things I'm really good at and the things that I really enjoy. And so think about this for you. And even if you're saying, well, Steve, I love painting, but I don't have time to paint every single day, that's okay. Start to pepper these things in throughout your week, throughout your day if you can, throughout your month, throughout your schedule, because if you never make time for them, they're never going to happen. So now that you're clear on what you're good at and what you enjoy, I want you to start to think about, what do you want? Okay, now this is not me asking you to lay out your entire life plan and say, okay, 25 years from now, I'm going to know exactly what I'll be doing and who I'll be spending my time with, because that's not realistic. You don't have that magic 8 ball to tell you. You can't look into the future. But what you can do is start to think about, what do I want out of life every day? Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to be happier? Do you want to have clear mental health? Do you want to have better friends? Do you want to have close relationships with your family members? What is it that you want? And try to give me 3 to 5 of those things, because this is really what we're gearing things towards. You can know what you're really good at, the skills, and you can say, I want to get really good at developing these certain skills. And that's perfect. And hey, I really enjoy these things, but what are we doing this for? What do you want? Is it because you want to build a massive business to impact people all over the world in a positive way, to change their life, to make their life easier, to make their life better? What is it for you? And then once you're clear on those things, it feels exciting. And we're like, oh, we're ramping up to something. This is great. Well, then I got to get us clear and be really honest. And when my wife asked me these things the first time, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And she said, Steve, what are the internal limitations that you have? What are the things that you're telling yourself you can't do? Because so many times that right there is what robs us of our happiness and of our future progress, is what we're telling ourselves. And maybe there was a teacher, a parent, a friend at some point in your life who told you you're not good at something, or you don't look good doing that, or whatever the case may be. And now you have internalized that. Because I know when I started on this journey, there was a lot of things for me that came up when asking those questions. And man, I had to get clear. And this is painful. It's not always easy. It's not always fun. But we've got to start here and get clear on what are the things that I am telling myself that I now believe. And I'm just using them as internal limitations. Oh, I don't think I can do this because I don't have the education, or no one in my family's ever done this before. No one's been that successful. No one's impacted that many people in a great way. Well, why do you believe that that can't be you? And so then get clear on your internal limitations. And then you want to flip it and focus on the external limitations. What are the things that you're casting blame on? Is it the economy? Is it the elections coming up? Is it something that is out of your control? During the pandemic, so many people woke up and they focused on the fact that it was still the pandemic. And because of that, they gave that initial energy, that initial bandwidth, that initial focus to something that was out of their control. And this is what increases anxiety. This is what gets people really stressed, because if you only focus on the external limitations, the things that are out of your control, and you're using them as a reason why you can't do something, it's going to be hard, because you're not focusing on what you can control. So let's start to get clear on, okay, what are the internal limitations that we have, the things that we are telling ourselves, the beliefs that we have that are probably not true, they're holding us back. And then what are the external limitations, the things that are out of our control, but we're kind of using them as a crutch maybe to hold us back. And then when we get clear on those, I want us to now think about the future. And what I want you to ask yourself is, when was the last time that you did something that truly fired you up? It got you so excited. So maybe as a kid, when your birthday was coming up, it was hard to sleep. You were like, man, what am I going to get? What are we going to do on my birthday? All this excitement, right? And it fired you up. Maybe it was your wedding and that fired you up. You were so excited. The anticipation leading up to it was great. Maybe it was a job interview, something that, man, it just fired you up, got you so excited. When was the last time that you did something like that? And I want you to be clear here, because oftentimes we focus on, again, what we're good at and what's paying the bills and what we can do at a professional level, but we start to lose sight of things that are firing us up. And this is that zest. This is that flavor of life that I don't want you to lose. And so I want us to then think, okay, what could I start to include into my daily routine, my daily habit that would help me with that? Now, another question that I want us to think about, and I ask myself this as well to this day. I ask myself all these questions all the time still, right? It's not a one and done type conversation. Is what do you want to change or start? Okay, now this is not like a motivational speaker saying, okay, it's January 1st, you're going to have a whole different life this year. Well, the reason I don't take that approach is 97% of New Year's resolutions fail within the first 7 days. So within the first week of the year, 97% of those goals that people have set are already broken. And it's not their fault. It's just because they don't know how to structure their goals, and they don't know how to hold themselves accountable, and they don't necessarily have someone holding them accountable. And so I want you to think, in 2024 and beyond, what do you get to change in your life? Again, is it your mental health, your physical fitness, your relationship with yourself, with your family, whatever it is? What do you get to change or start? And then how is that going to impact your life? Because when you focus on what you get to change, not what you have to change, what you get to change and what you get to start, all of a sudden you're taking back that control. And you're saying, man, I want to change this. I want to do that. If you give yourself just a big list of tasks to do, or if you're looking for someone else to tell you what to do, it's never going to happen. And you're not going to grow. You're not going to get to know yourself at a deeper level. if you're only focusing on, hey, you give me a list of things, or I need tasks, because that's not what you want to change. That's not what you want to start. That's what you're being told you need to change or start. And there's a whole different approach there. And then the last is, what does living on purpose mean to you? Because again, everybody's purpose is different, and everybody has a different view of life and a different definition of what they're good at and what they enjoy and what fulfillment is. But I want you to think about, if you're doing things purposefully every day, what would that life feel like for you? When you wake up in the morning, you have a purpose, you have something pulling you forward, rather than feeling like, I got to hit the alarm snooze button 5 different times, and I'm going to just get some kind of junky food to eat in the morning, and I'm just going to go through the motions, and I'm going to get on these Zoom calls. You don't want to live that way. You have so much more potential. There's so much more living inside of you that is there, and you know it's there because it calls to you all the time. And what you want to think about is, what does living on purpose mean to me? How would I feel? How would the people around me feel? What would my zest for life be like? And how would my life change? What would my physical fitness be? My mental fitness, my relationships with myself and with others, my clarity of direction, my ability to achieve goals and certain aspects of objectives that I set for myself. Because when you live on purpose, everything is going to light up for you. Now, that's not me saying that if your goal is to become financially successful, when you find your purpose, all of a sudden in 30 days, you're going to be a millionaire. We want to be realistic here. It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. It's going to take commitment and discipline. But when you're clear on why you're doing things, your entire life will change. Imagine if your team members came in every single day to your office or got on calls with customers, and your team members just had such clarity of purpose. Do you think the customer experience would increase? Do you think the customer satisfaction would increase? Absolutely. Because when someone's living on purpose, it doesn't matter if they get an objection. It doesn't matter if they get someone who might be having a bad day and they're disgruntled on the phone. Their entire focus is to serve. Their entire focus is to be on purpose. And they're going to communicate and deliver this message completely in a different way than if they didn't, right? So you want to make sure that you as a leader, that you as a parent, personally, professionally, you're clear on your purpose. And this, again, is a list of questions that you can ask yourself at any time. And the answers might change, and that's okay. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't think that just answering these questions today is going to give you the answers for your life for the next 10, 15, 25 years. That's not how it works. But at least it's going to give you a baseline. It's going to give you those first steps that you need to start to live on purpose. And so I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks so much for listening or watching, tuning in from wherever you are. I really look forward to continuing to add value to you as we continue on this journey together. See you on the next one.